Hey everybody, welcome to Draft Review 695. Today we're going to talk about Blitz Bowl Season 2. Now, a couple of years ago, I think, I reviewed Blitz Bowl Season 1, and this is kind of an update, not an expansion to that season. So I'm not going to do like a full kind of walkthrough of how to play, because the rules have not changed that much from the original. What I will do is go through and highlight some of the key differences into some of the updates to the teams and some other new features that they've added. And then one specific rule that's a very important rule that I will highlight right away that has changed. So as you can see from the box cover, this particular edition is actually dwarves versus humans. And I did want to go ahead and make mention of the box insert. You've got a new double-sided board, which is really not that different from the board in the Season 1. And you've got the player dugouts. Now you've also got a sheet for playing league games and keeping track of your team and specifically your coaching traits over the course of multiple games. I'll talk about this more in a little bit. And here you can see a lot of the cards and figures that come and fit nicely in this box. Now there are new challenge cards and end game challenge cards. I didn't go through them and try to figure out which ones they kept and which ones they left out, but there's definitely some changes here. I don't know that you would ever want to combine these with the Season 1 cards. I think I would just play with the Season 2 cards. It seems like the Endgame Challenge cards are a little bit less wacky, but that's just kind of a general impression. I didn't really do any hard research on that. And you've got cards for 13 teams in the box. So if you've got figures from Blood Bowl or from Blitz Bowl Season 1, all of the cards that you'll need are in this box. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through all of the team cards, and I'm just going to kind of talk super quick. I mean, I'm hardly going to say anything, and I'll just leave them on the screen. So if you want to pause it and take a look at the team cards, you can compare it with some of the teams that you have, and you can take a look at the changes. I'm not going to go through all that. There's also a set of cards. And each team gets 2, in the case of Goblins, 3 ball cards. So each of the model boxes that you can get for this, they have special ball models. And this actually has effects for all of those different models. So when a new ball enters play, then you will flip a card to see which type of ball it is, and then you can either play with that rule or without. It's kind of an optional rule, but a lot of the rules are really fun and interesting. I'll make a mention of a couple of them. Before we get into all that, I do want to highlight one really neat rule, spoiler, that is a really cool thing. So I'm going to just take a look at it here. And this is called Get On With It. And it says, if a team starts a turn in possession of every ball on the pitch, so if there's only one ball, if you have it, and you start your turn with it, by the end of the turn, if they still have the possession of every ball on the pitch, and they have not claimed any challenge cards, a new ball enters play, following the rules for no ball in play, blah, blah, blah. So what happens is, if you basically hoard the ball or don't get anything done with the ball, then a new ball pops into one of the trap doors. So same rules as Season 1. And so now there's 2 balls floating around. And so while there's 2 balls floating around, as long as one team doesn't control both of them, then we won't get another ball. So it's possible to have 2, 3, 4 balls, I guess, in play, and then it's just mayhem. But this is just a really neat rule. And I'll talk more about that part in the review. So let's just do a quick look over all of the various different team cards. This is mostly just to kind of spoil this stuff so folks have a chance to look at their favorite teams, take a look at what's changed. Stats have changed, special abilities have changed. So first we're going to show the human player. This is one of the teams that comes in the box. And if you're new to this, you can see that it indicates how many of each figure you have on your team. Next, we'll take a look at the dwarf team. And again, just pause the video if you want to take a look at anything in more detail. And next we have the orc team, which I believe was what came in Season 1. I know that's what came in the original Blood Bowl 2016 edition box. And now we have the dark elf team, which I have not ever played with. And next we have the Wood Elf team, and I believe the Ward Dancer ability here is one of note. I was pestered a little bit by some of the folks that I know that are in Blitz Bowl leagues and stuff to share that particular one because it's a little bit different. Now we have the Nurgle players, and we have the 1 Goblin player. And then the one thing to note about this is that you actually have 8 Goblin minis, whereas the other teams always have 6, but you only have one type of little lineman goblin here. And next we have the Chaos player, which is a beastman and some kind of chaos human, looks like. And next you have the Lizardmen, or the Skinks, or as I like to call them, the Seraphon. Don't hate me. Next we have just the Elves. And next we have the Skaven, which are a fun team to play. And we also have the Halflings. And then we also have the Undead, which is a team that I'm interested in checking out, which I think is one of the newer teams to come out. So that was the last team. So now we're going to take a look at the ball cards for each team. So I'm just going to go through this very quickly again. Just pause the video. Here's the Orc team. And now we have the Skaven team. And now we have the Dark Elf team. You can see this Draconic Egg. This one will actually bounce a little bit further sometimes. Next, these are for the Elf team. And then here are the 3 actually for the Goblin team. They actually get an extra ball. And then here is the balls for the Nurgle team. And then here's the Chaos team. You can see they have the Demonic Ball, which is if when a player takes possession of it, he rolls 6-sided die and a 1. The ball just bounces away from them because it's got a little mind of its own. Here's the balls for the Halfling team. Here's the balls for the Lizardmen team. And then here are the 2 balls for the Undead team, which have the same ability, which says the ball cannot be used to make long throws. It's very interesting. And we have the 2 balls here for the Wood Elf team, also for the Human team, and these 2 balls are the exact same. And then finally we have the 2 balls for the Dwarf team. And the last little bit I want to show you is the main part of the campaign is these coaches traits. So after you play a game in a league or in a campaign, you roll the 2d8, and then you will pick and get one of these coach traits, which will affect future games, which you can use to affect future games. And you'll keep track of that stuff on this little sheet here, and you also keep track of like the challenges and the injuries and all that kind of stuff if you want to try to get special rewards at the end of your league's play. Okay, so that's basically all the changes from season 1 to season 2. You've got the one awesome rule change, which is super fun, and you've got all the the team changes and the ball rules. The ball rules I would throw in probably every time, unless it's kind of like your first couple of plays, because it kind of just makes things a little bit wackier than they probably need to be as you're learning the game. But if both players kind of have a handle on the challenges that are available and how that kind of system works, and also the abilities and stats and everything of their own teams, and then I would add the balls in. But if you've got a handle on all that stuff, then I would definitely add the balls in, because they add this kind of that interesting kind of tactical sort of funky chaosy thing to the game. Now I played one game of this using that new awesome rule, which I really love, and that just really cranks it to 11. Just the kind of the blood bully or blitz bulliness of the game. Just having those, because a lot of times you get the ball and you're like, well, I can't get a touchdown because I'm in such a position that I can't get a touchdown, and none of the challenges are really relevant right now, and it's like, oh no, then another ball pops in, and then it's just like, whoa, everything's going on, and it really just messes with. Sometimes the game can be a little grindy in a way where you kind of like, everybody kind of knows where the action's going to kind of go, and it kind of comes down to those dice rolls. Whereas if you toss that other ball in there, then it's like, oh, you're kind of pulled in multiple directions, and it just makes it really, really fun. And I can't really comment on any of the changes to the teams because I'm not really that experienced with it. I never played any league or anything. Just played the original pretty casually, only a handful of times. The ball rules, like I said, are really cool. It's just that extra layer of tactics. Now, playing with the ball rules and having the multi-ball stuff come into play, that's again something I would get a couple of games under your feet, and then it's going to be better if folks have those balls like painted up so you can kind of identify them quicker, because on the ball card images on the card you can see what maybe you should paint it like or something. But this is something so you can easily sort of decipher everything going on the board. So you kind of want to play with that painted up, because if you just have this blue or red blob balls, like which ball is that? So that's kind of, you want to paint that up. I'm not usually somebody that says, well, you should paint the game. You just play the game however you want. But like in this case, you probably should paint the balls up if you're going to use that rule, and then you have multiple balls coming in. It's just going to make processing the game that much easier. And I do like how they have a little bit of support for the league mode. Now you can't like have players get permanently injured or lose players, or the whole like management of the full Blood Bowl of getting new players and recruiting them and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, this is kind of I think it would be kind of a breath of fresh air, where you just kind of slowly accrue special abilities that you can use in future games, and you just kind of play and have fun. And it gives you other sort of goals to go after. So if you're not necessarily going to be the person that wins the league or the tournament, you can try to be the one that injures the most players. You can try to be one that tries to get the most of the special challenges and those achievements and stuff like that. So it gives you some other kind of, I guess participation trophies, but not really. It's like, special, targeted things in case you get kind of knocked out of the league and you're so far behind and stuff. And there's rules for like doing playoffs and stuff like that in there. So that's a really neat. And so this has really kind of added that extra layer of spice and sort of replayability into this game. And just kind of an anecdote here is there's a Blitz Bowl league and stuff here, and there's some others that are online. And I've seen, honestly, a lot of people really sort of gravitate from Blood Bowl into playing just strictly Blitz Bowl most of the time, and being involved in leagues already and supporting that even just with season 1. I was kind of interested to see that some people were chomping at the bit like, hey, share those cards, share those ball cards, share those team cards, because we've got this whole giant group of people that are really interested in this and playing in leagues and stuff like that. And I, for one, I know this is probably like heresy or something, pun intended, I like Blitz Bowl better than Blood Bowl. Now, I'm very interested to see what the new season of Blood Bowl coming out is going to be for the kind of the season 2 of the 2016 release later this year in 2020, to see what they kind of do to that game. Because the thing with me is Blitz Bowl really kind of distills all the fun stuff of Blood Bowl and throws out all of the not fun stuff. And this kind of furthers that with season 2. And so I think it's just a great sort of product piece as well, because of just the ease of getting into this game. I think this box is going to run like $35 or something like that. So you've got your 2 teams, and then if you want to, and it got everything you need to play with any other teams you might have. You don't have to go chase down card packs or anything like that. You can go and get a box, and the boxes are priced in such a way that it's like $20 to get a team out of it, because you end up splitting those boxes, because you don't need all the models and stuff. So if you want to like just have a small little gaggle of variety here, it's not like a deep investment, but the gameplay itself is so fun and such rewarding kind of thing that it's definitely worth, and it's really a good bang for your buck in terms of this style of game. And they really do just like lean in to the fun of this game. It's just really cool. So if you're more interested in some of the details and stuff about how Blitz Bowl plays, go back and watch my season 1 video. I'll put a link down in the description. But this is just a better enhancement of that, and it doesn't really negate anything you have from season 1 at all, except basically a couple stacks of cards, and that's pretty much it. So anyway, I definitely recommend folks do this. If you're already into Blitz Bowl, then you're probably just picking this up anyway. But if you've thought about it, this is probably a good spot to jump in and take a look at it, and you can just forget season 1 ever happened, get this, and pick up maybe a couple of boxes and split those with friends. And so you can get in super cheap, and away you go. So I definitely recommend folks take a look. It's really funner than it should be. Thanks.